We had a preview yesterday of exactly what it's going to be like. What are you laughing at? Look, where I had... No. I had moved on beyond Khloe Kardashian and Odell Beckham. I just, you don't think I'm really going to talk about that, do you? I just did that to get Wendy all hyped up. It was either that or find something about sex, out there, and that's not hard to do, but when you think Odell Beckham and the Kardashians, what do you think of next? So it's killing two birds with one stone. But no, I'm serious. I made this prediction, and I meant it, and it's deadly serious, folks. Well, not deadly, but it's politically serious. If I'm right about this, it's unprecedented. Slightly unprecedented. Bill Clinton, at least, went overseas to rip on George W. Bush. And Al Gore went overseas to rip on George W. Bush during his first term. But Obama is going to stay in Washington. Ostensibly, he's already bought the house. It's the house that was owned by Joe Lockhart. Well, he's renting the house. Who knew, by the way, that White House press secretaries make enough money to buy $9 million houses? With 7 bedrooms and 17 and a half bathrooms or whatever it is. Now, Lockhart now works for the NFL, so he's a spokesman, communications director. Anyway, my point is that it's unprecedented. Presidents, after they leave Washington after 1 or 2 terms, they go to their hometowns, wherever they are, or they just slink away. And custom has it that they shut up. They've had their time, and it's a matter of respect that the new president is given whatever honeymoon period or what have you. But even beyond the honeymoon period, it's just been SOP, standard operating procedure, that ex-presidents do not comment. And I know for a fact, it hasn't happened yet, know for a fact, I am as certain of this as I've been of anything, that Obama is going to comment on anything that happens that might lead to unraveling his agenda, and it isn't going to take him long at all. And all I'm telling you is we got a preview of it yesterday in Elkhart, Indiana. Obama is chomping at the bit to get involved in this campaign. He can't stand not being part of this. And I'll tell you why. It's because the Democrat candidate is such a dry ball. The Democrat candidate may as well be an empty podium versus Donald Trump out there, who's everything Trump is, all the pizzazz, all the excitement, all the energy, all of the focus. Whether there's controversy involved or not, there is lots of energy. There's lots of pizzazz. There's lots of showbiz. Everything Obama dreams of recapturing for himself. That he had in the campaign of 2008 and into his first term. He's just chomping at the bit. In fact, there was even a leakage. A CNN story. Unnamed White House source. Someone who apparently is close enough to Obama leaked that Obama is chomping at the bit to get out and get people fired up. A White House source told CNN. But then they said the president will largely remain on the sidelines until the Democrats have a nominee. Obama expects to explode onto the scene once the nominee is selected and knows his power to fire up the Democrat base. It's driving him crazy, the source said, to be mostly hands off at this time. Now, this is passed off as a leak. But let me ask you something. There aren't any leaks like this that come out of the Obama White House. This was not a leak. This was a strategically planned leak. Somebody called CNN and said, "Hey, I got a quick bit of news here for you. Nobody knows that I'm telling you this, so leave my name out of it. But guess what? Obama's chomping at the bit. He's going crazy watching this campaign. He can't believe what he's looking at. He can't believe what he's seeing. He can't wait to get out there and correct the record." Blah, blah. And it's being portrayed as somebody has betrayed Obama, but not a big betrayal, but still has spoken out of turn. And that's not true. This is all planned. Obama wants it out there that he's chomping at the bit. And let's go to the audio sound bites. And by the way, you're going to find out what it's like when somebody takes a teleprompter away from Barry. And this is not the first time this has happened, by the way. It's our third soundbite coming up here, where Obama just, when the subject of Trump comes up, he can't talk. He starts stuttering left and right, using slang lingo that I had to go to the Urban Dictionary to find a definition for something he said. So let's get started. It's his usual rant against me and Fox News. His usual rant that me and Fox News are totally destroying his accomplishments. We are destroying his legacy by, of course, lying about it. We're lying about how bad his great economy is. We're lying about how bad his great healthcare system is. We are poisoning the minds of people, and we've been doing it for 7.5 years, and he's sick and tired of it. He's had it. So it was yesterday afternoon in Elkhart, Indiana. Here's the first of our 3 bites.
Their basic story is America's working class, America's middle class. Families like yours have been victimized by a big, bloated federal government run by a bunch of left-wing elitists like me. And the government's taking your hard-earned tax dollars and it's giving them to freeloaders and welfare cheats. That's the story that's been told. And I haven't, turned on Fox News or listened to conservative talk radio yet today, but I've turned them on enough over these past 7.5 years to know I'm not exaggerating in terms of their story. That's the story they tell.
No, it's not. He is substantively wrong about something in a big way in that bite, and what he's doing is plugging in his own prejudice and his own bigotry in it. And I'll explain what I mean by this. America's middle class been victimized by a big, bloated federal government run by a bunch of left-wing elitists like me. The government's taking your hard-earned tax dollars and giving them to freeloaders and welfare cheats. That's not what is said today. That might have been accurate way back when. That might have been accurate during the 80s. That might have been conventional wisdom in the 80s. But that's not what people are complaining about regarding Obama today and his bloated government. We're complaining about Obamacare. By the way, the Obamacare exchange in Ohio has officially crumbled now. I think it's Ohio. It has officially bit the dust. The entire Obamacare healthcare system, by design, this is the thing, mission accomplished. It's falling apart at the state level. And the reason for that is so that people will panic and demand that it be fixed because they can't live, they can't walk, they can't take one more step unless they know they have health insurance. And it's dwindling away and it's unaffordable, even though Obama promised that it would be. It's the deductibles, the premiums, it's out of reach for average Americans. And so, mission accomplished. What he wants them to do is beg the federal government to take over. There's a column, if I may briefly depart from this, just to illustrate a point, and I'll get back to this. You remember Larry Summers, the guy that ran Harvard for a while, and he former Treasury Secretary, and he got thrown out of Harvard because he made the observation that women are not that great in math and science, and that's why there aren't that many female professors at Harvard. And so the feminazis got in gear, and it took him out and so forth. And he's now... I talked to him about it at a business conference in Sacramento, by the way, some years ago. He was amazingly open to me about it, his feelings and everything. He lives in Boston, and he published a column recently. He admitted that he's a progressive. But he made an observation many of us have made over the years. What's standout about this is that he made it as an admitted progressive. And he was talking about a bridge over the St. Charles River in Boston that has its infrastructure expenditure that the governments have been involved in trying to repair, and they've just made a mess of it. It's way over budget. It's way over time. It hasn't gone well whatsoever. And he makes the observation that it's not implausible. It's not. In fact, it makes perfect sense for people to doubt the ability of government to run every aspect of their lives when they can't even build a 200-foot bridge on time and on budget. And if they can't even get that done, why should anybody logically expect they could run the entire healthcare system or take over any other aspect of people's lives? Well, that's what we've been saying. Obama's not qualified to run health care. He has no experience in it. He has disdain for the private sector. We're not out there saying that Obama's taking money from people, giving it welfare queens and welfare cheats. That's Reagan-era lingo. And that's where Obama's mind is in this. Our complaints about Obama and his big government growth are legitimate. You know, the unemployment rate. He's bragging about that yesterday. The unemployment rate, 5.1%. Well, it's never been lower. Well, yeah, you know why the unemployment rate's 5.1%? Because it's not because new jobs are being created. It's because people leaving the workforce and aren't being counted anymore. Come on, common sense, 94, almost 95 million Americans not working, and they want to talk to us about a plunging unemployment rate? The middle class, the bitter clingers that Obama thinks are hanging around the VFW halls and cars and bars, that's the next bite coming up, haven't had a meaningful wage increase or standard of living increase in 15 years. And they haven't had a prayer of one in the last 7.5. And that's why so much is turned upside down. We're not exaggerating anything here. I don't know what Fox News is doing, but I don't exaggerate any aspect of the Obama agenda. I just point out, unlike the drive-by media, all the failures, all the promises, all the lies, all the distortions, even running around today, portraying your economy as one of the greatest recoveries ever is just a flat-out lie. There isn't any evidence to back it up. The government is growing. You know, when Obama took office, you know what the national debt was? Roughly $10 trillion. You know what it is now? It's almost 20. The national debt has almost doubled, and he's up there bragging about bringing down the deficit and reducing spending. He hasn't done anything of the sort. The government took over 1/6 of the economy when it took over health care. That means the private sector, where everybody lives and works, and where the American dream is. The American dream's not in government, folks. Well, it didn't used to be. Sadly, for some people, it is now. That's another problem. The American dream is in the good old-fashioned United States economy, but it's getting smaller as government takes more and more of it, as government regulates more and more of it. I mean, this is what it is chutzpah to come out and make this claim. Government's taking your hard-earned tax dollars, giving them to freeloaders and welfare cheats. Nope, but I'll tell you what you are doing. You are letting an uncontrolled number in the hundreds of thousands of illegal aliens just pour into this country who are not skilled enough and who don't speak English and are not educated enough to hope to have any kind of a meaningful, productive job. And yet they're being hired because they're cheaper than American citizens living in the country. And we are giving them health care, and we are providing them all kinds of benefits. And Obama is proud of it. And on that basis, he's urging them to come here. He constantly reminds people, make sure you get your benefits. Focus on your benefits. It's Obama always talking about how corporate America is sleazy and greedy and out to screw people. I got to take a break because of time. We'll be back here in just a second. Okay, next bite. Here's Obama and letting you know what he thinks of bitter clingers and where you happen to be.
Tales about welfare queens. Talking about takers, talking about the 47%. It's the story that is broadcast every day.
No, it's not.
On some cable news stations. On right-wing radio. It's pumped into cars and bars and VFW halls all across America and right here in Elkhart. And if you're hearing that story all the time, you start believing it. It's no wonder people think big government is the problem.
He didn't get a lot of applause here, and that really upset Gwen Ifill at PBS, who wrote an angst-filled column ripping the people of Elkhart, Indiana, for not supporting Obama enthusiastically. She wrote, "What gives?" But here again, notice where you people who watch Fox News and listen to this program are. You're in cars and bars and VFW halls. And by the way, what goes on at VFW halls? They're just a place for veterans to gather and drink and complain and whine about a bunch of namby-pamby liberals, right? That's what they think goes on at VFW halls. So you idiots, in Obama's mind, you mental midgets that watch Fox and listen to this program, you get all excited hearing about welfare queens. I haven't used that term in 25 years. Takers? Can't recall. The 47%? I mean, Romney, 47%. We are in this guy's rent-free, in his head rent-free. This is so indicative. But the pièce de résistance soundbite is next. You know, Trump is really getting under Obama's skin, and just like we have here for 7.5 years. And eventually the frustration level reaches a boiling point, and it boils over with Obama, as it did yesterday in Elkhart, Indiana. There's another reason, too. He goes to Elkhart. Why did he go to Elkhart? Well, because Elkhart did have some kind of a visible economic recovery. And Obama went out there, I take credit for it, because Elkhart is a place that he went in 2009 to announce his stimulus bill and all kinds of great things. But Obama's policies haven't led to any economic rebound anywhere other than for the people that are in crony corporate relationships with him. But in general, the United States, you know, I'm beginning not like this term either, private sector. I think it sounds exclusionary, but it is what it is. I mean, the United States economy, private sector, everything that's not government. There isn't any growth. There's shrinkage. There is contraction in the private sector. And Elkhart, Indiana, had some growth, so Obama wanted to go out there and soak in all the praise, but he had nothing to do with it. Fracking, falling oil prices, purchase of RVs, people working at oil installations buying RVs to live in. Fracking, once again, something that happened in Ohio. Fracking resulting in falling oil prices. And Obama opposes fracking. He doesn't like fracking. Obama doesn't like oil. Obama doesn't like fossil fuels. Obama thinks fossil fuels are destroying the country. You know, he said something about Trump. And this, another indication of just how much Trump is bothering Obama. Obama said, well, what magic wand does Trump have? What magic wand do you have, Trump? Now, what he meant was, here's Trump out there on the campaign trail, and he's talking about all these things he's going to fix. He's going to kick the hell out of ISIS. He's going to kick the hell out of the Chinese. He's going to write these horrible trade deals. He's going to correct them, whatever he says he's going to do. He's going to make America great again. And Obama's sitting up there. Well, really? Well, you know, there's nobody better than me. Nobody smarter than I am. No, nobody. No, nobody. Not even the Okie Dokes. Nobody. And I haven't been able. What magic wand do you have? I'm going to answer the question for you. Attitude counts for so much. It really does. You know, the whole idea of positive thinking, can-do spirit, the attitude about something that you have going in. Let's compare Trump to Obama on the concept of America. Just that alone. Obama doesn't even think in terms of American exceptionalism. When the subject comes up, he acts offended. Well, you know what? I'm sure in Norway they think they're excellent too. And I'm sure every other country thinks they're exceptional too. We're nothing special about us. What makes you think so? Well, if that's your starting point, in fact, it's worse than that. If your starting point is America is flawed, if your starting point is America is guilty of whatever the things you think it's guilty of, if you think America's flawed and guilty because of the way we were founded, because of some of the elements in our past, such as slavery, colonialization, as Obama would look at it, what hope does America have of being great, being led by somebody like Obama, who doesn't even believe in the concept, and furthermore doesn't even think it's deserved? And I'm sorry to say that that's what I think of Obama. I think that he looks at this country as a country that is owed a little punishment. I think Obama looks at America and sees a place that is an undeserving superpower, needs to be cut down to size, needs to find out what it's like to live in the rest of the world. That we have come by our superpower status in ill-gotten fashion. We have conquered and we have appropriated resources, and we have firebombed foreign governments, and we've overturned duly constituted governments, the anti-CIA attitude. The point is, regardless of specifics, if your attitude about America is that it's not great and doesn't deserve to be, and on the other side, here's Donald Trump, who believes the exact opposite, who believes America is great, can be again, will be again, should be again, and is going to do everything he can to make it great again, it becomes crystal clear why Obama would say, what magic wand do you have? All Trump has is an attitude. All Trump has is a belief. And so does everybody else. This is not exclusive to Trump. I have it. You have it. We all want America to be great. We all don't like the view of America that has been created by this regime. We don't like a leadership that feels the need to apologize or make excuses for this country all over the place, or bow down to every foreign leader he meets. It's not that we think we're better than anybody else, but we know we are stronger. We know we have more potential. We are the engine of freedom for the world. We do what we do for good, or we want to. So if you have somebody, it could be, Mitt Romney was the same frame of mind, so is George W. Bush, but Hillary isn't, and Joe Biden's not, and there isn't anybody in the Democrat Party anymore. There's no JFK. Can you imagine JFK today as a Democrat saying at a Democrat convention or any other gathering of modern-day progressives, they go to San Francisco, JFK saying, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for you. You realize how he would be hooted and shouted off the stage? Because in modern-day progressivism, it is totally about what your government owes you, what your government will and can do for you. There's none of this ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. No, no, no. We've done enough for our country, and we've been savaged, and we've been sabotaged, and we've been cheated. JFK wouldn't have a home in the modern-day Democrat Party. They might let him in because he was handsome. But outside of that, ideologically, he wouldn't have a home in the modern-day Democrat Party. So I don't care who they nominate. They're Crazy Bernie. Crazy Bernie thinks this country's guilty. Crazy Bernie thinks this country is filled with injustice everywhere, just like Obama does. This country is just littered with injustice and bias and hatred and bigotry and racism and homophobia and transphobia and all the other phobias that it can come up with. This country's anti-female, it's anti-this, it's anti... They don't have one shred of a positive outlook on this country, except as it's related to transforming it. So I can totally understand why Obama would frustratedly say to Trump, what magic wand do you have? There isn't a magic wand. It's a spirit. It's an attitude. It's a desire. It is a vision. And it's accurate to say the Democrat Party vision today is not have in it a great America, a victorious America, an exceptional America. The view of America in the Democrat Party today is one of shame and guilt and unfairness and racism and bigotry and all these other things that they obsess over. So Trump doesn't have a magic wand. He just has the famous time-honored American can-do spirit. And matched up against somebody like Obama, what's your magic wand? You think you just come in and make all this stuff happen, huh? Well, let me tell you, it's not that easy. I've been trying. That's the point. He hasn't been. In Obama's world, America needs to admit its flaws. We need to stop preaching to the rest of the world about the way they treat their people, because we got nothing to talk about. The way we've treated our own people, that's so bad. Who are we to talk about how people are treated in China? Who are we to talk about how people are treated in Cuba? Who are we to talk about how people are treated anywhere in the world? We got nothing to say. We have nothing to stand on because we're just as guilty as all of these despots that we see. That's the Democrat Party attitude of America today. Another reason why I think a genuinely upbeat, positive, can-do, America Great Again campaign can triumph. Because I frankly think there are vastly more people that want that America than the one that we are being transformed into. I don't think there's any question about it. Okay, here's the pièce de résistance. Soundbite. This where if Obama finally loses it, this is what happens. No teleprompter. He finally got to Trump. He got around to talking about Trump. He's unloaded on me. He's unloaded on Fox News. Now it was time to unload on Trump.
If we turn against each other based on divisions of race or religion, if we fall for, a bunch of okey doke, just because it sounds funny or the tweets are provocative, then we're not going to build on the progress that we started.
That's incoherent. Forget the stutters. It's incoherent. Let me read it to you without stutters. If we turn against each other based on divisions of race or religion, if we fall for, a bunch of okey doke, just because you know it sounds funny or the tweet's provocative, then we're not going to build on the progress that we've started. What in the world is he talking? Well, I know what he's talking about because I know liberals. I know this guy. Then you throw the stutters in there. He is livid that Trump is so creative on Twitter. He's jealous as hell of it, and he's angry that people respond positively to it. I told you yesterday it's all one of the reasons that Trump has got some opposition. There are people jealous. There are all kinds of people in politics, in the media, you name it, elsewhere, corporate America, jealous. They would love to beat Trump. Well, they would love to experience what Trump has experienced. They would love to be the focal point and the recipient of all of this positive energy, massive crowds. They would love to know what that's like. And they think they could do it. They think they could do it if they just had a chance. But Trump's got there, and they're jealous and they're envious. And Obama, especially, as somebody built on PR pizzazz, buzz, and Greek columns, I guarantee you, this is driving him crazy. If George Bush had spoken like this once, we would still be hearing the soundbite. Every time George Bush's name came up, we'd still be hearing the soundbite. Play it again. Play it again, Sam. I want to hear this once more.
If we turn against each other based on divisions of race or religion, if we fall for, a bunch of okey doke, just because it sounds funny or the tweets are provocative, then we're not going to build on the progress that we started.
There isn't any progress. There isn't any progress. We are at war with each other like we haven't been since the Civil War. Americans are divided and at war with each other by design. Mr. Obama's not been a unity president. He's been divisive on purpose. By the way, do you know what okey doke is? I'll tell you in a minute. I went to the Urban Dictionary. It's where you have to go to find out what okey doke means.